Hi everyone! Welcome to today's Crafternoons. I hope you guys are excited and ready to go for today. It is a beautiful day today, super sunny, it's gorgeous outside, and it got me thinking, what if we did some really cool crafts today that was themed with the sun, with the outside, and with ladybugs, bumblebees, butterflies, and more. So today's craft, we are going to be making some sun catchers. I have done a really cute ladybug one here and a bumblebee one. And if you hold them up to the light will actually shine through on the other side. So you can stick these to a window or a door, and then when you look at them, you'll see these beautiful shiny little bugs. So for today's craft, all you're going to need, now I have a lot of stuff here, but you don't need all of this stuff. All you're going to need today is a piece of clear plastic. Now, I am really big on recycling, so what I have here is just an old salad container. Nothing crazy, it's just a big plastic lid from a salad container. If you have a fruit container like strawberries or blueberries or anything like that, you can also use that too. You're also going to need some tissue paper in any color you want. If you're going to do a ladybug, you might need red. If you're going to do a bumblebee, maybe you need some yellow or orange. If you're going to do a rainbow butterfly, then you can have any color you want. You're also going to need some form of glue. I have with me some white school glue and Mod Podge. You don't need to have Mod Podge if you just have white school glue, just anything that will help stick our tissue paper to the plastic. And then last but not least, to help out with all of the lines, you're going to need either markers or paint or anything like that that can stick to the plastic. So if you just have markers, those work. If you have paint, that works too. So let's get started. I'm going to move all of my stuff out of the way here. And first things first, I'm going to take my piece of plastic. Now, hopefully you guys can make it out here. So I have a big piece of plastic here, and I'm going to draw out the design that I want to make with a marker. So I'm going to use a nice marker right here. I'm going to go with a dark blue so you guys can see. And I think for today, I want to make a ladybug, and I'm going to have them sitting on top of a leaf because I have a lot of plastic. If you have a smaller container, you might not have enough room, so you might have to only do just a ladybug or a bumblebee or a butterfly or dragonfly or anything that you want. So the first thing that we're going to do is taking your marker, you're going to draw out your design. So I'm going to just loosely draw out my ladybug shape, and I'm going to, I'm going to use a cup right here so that I have a perfect circle for my ladybug. If you have anything around your house, you can use that too. If you had like a bowl or a cup or anything like that, and bam. Super simple. We have our ladybug shape. Now to finish off our shape, I'm going to give my ladybug a little head because my ladybug needs to be able to see. So hopefully you guys can see that there. So I've got a circle for the body and then a semicircle, so half a circle for the head. It sort of looks like a moon shape if you look at it. And then because I want my ladybug to be sitting on top of a leaf, I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to draw out a leaf shape. And you can draw this however you want. Now, you don't have to have your character sitting on something. Maybe you just want it to be a creature, or maybe you want to add more, like there's an entire scene. What if your creature was on a flower? Or maybe your creature is on a rock or something like that. So you guys can decide whatever you want. And then once you have that, you can draw in your details so you know where to color in for later. So I know that my ladybug has some wings. So I'm going to go like that so I can draw my wings. I also know that the leaf is going to have a line right down the middle. So once you have that, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to start by adding some tissue paper with our glue. Now, because I've drawn on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. So I'm going to say that again so everyone knows. So I drew on this side. I'm now going to flip it over so that I can put glue on the back side. So now all I got here is just a little bit of a wooden stick, and I'm just going to use some Mod Podge. If you have Mod Podge, you can use that. If you don't, you can just use some normal school glue. So just as long as you have some glue like this, you're going to put a little on like a plate or in a cup or a bowl, and then we can start adding our tissue paper. So you don't need too much. The best thing to do with this kind of project is you just need a thin layer. So I'm going to take my stick and I'm just going to slowly start smoothing on some glue. And I think I'm going to work with my ladybug first. So I'm going to start by smoothing this out here so that it goes all the way around, just like this. So make sure that you cover it. You don't want too much, so you don't want it to be super, super thick. You just want enough so that it covers the plastic. And then this is where the fun part begins. Taking some tissue paper, you're going to take little pieces at a time. So I want you to rip them off so that they're tiny little pieces like this. And then you're going to stick them down with your finger. So I'm just ripping off tiny, tiny little pieces. And you're going to layer them on top of each other. So for example, right here, it's a little hard to see, so I'm going to hold it up to the camera. This piece is sticking up a tiny bit because there is paper underneath. So to make sure that it sticks down, using your glue, you're going to go over the top so that it gets covered in glue, because you want to make sure that your tissue pieces are stuck down to the plastic. And the best part about this is you can keep layering. So if you want more color, you can add more color on top. And just keep working away. So I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to stick down all of my red. And I'm going to keep going away just like this, nice and slow. And then slowly, if I turn it over, you guys would see that we're starting to cover our shape. And then, the more we do it, the more color we get. So, I'm going to keep working away nice and slow. I forgot to mention before, so I'll mention it now. If you want your shape to be cut out of the plastic, you are going to need some scissors. So I'll put those scissors right over there so we can use them when the time comes. So for now, I'm going to keep on sticking down. And remember, if it starts coming up, all you gotta do is just layer a little bit more glue or Mod Podge on top so that it sticks down to the plastic. And the best part is you can take your time with this. So if you want it to look just right, keep working at it and go nice and slow. I'm making it so that my ladybug is beautiful and super red as well, because I think red ladybugs look really cool, especially in the summer. So I'm going to add lots and lots and lots of Mod Podge so that it looks just right. So let's add my red there. And I'm almost done, Mr. Ladybug. Or Mrs. Ladybug, depending on what you want to call them. Let's add a bit more red right there. Okay, so I've done my ladybug side. Now I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to get some green for my leaf right here. And then just like what we were doing before, taking that glue, you're going to start sticking your glue down to the plastic. So I'm going to stick my glue there. Now don't worry if it goes outside the lines. If you cut it out, you can smooth it out, so you don't have to worry if you go over. So I'm going to keep on putting some glue all the way over here. Gonna make it look perfect. And I'm gonna do it in slow bits. So I'll start with the top here, and then I can always go down to the next half of the leaf once I've done the top. So let me drag down my glue so there's not too much of it at once. And then again, starting with my paper, I'm going to cut into small little pieces, or you can tear them too. And we're going to start sticking it down. And we're going to cover the entire leaf with this lovely green color right here, so that we have a beautiful ladybug sitting atop their leaf, enjoying all of the tasty leaf deliciousness and enjoying the nice sun. And remember, if it comes up, all you gotta do is just add a little bit more glue. Just like this. There we go. And just keep working away. I'm really excited to see what these are going to look like. I can see everyone's working hard on theirs. Ooh, I love how they're looking, guys. I can see someone's working on a bumblebee. Ooh, I see someone's got a dragonfly going on. Ooh, I'm excited to see how these are going to look at the end. So, because I've done the top part, I can start working on the bottom. So just take your glue, put it on there, and start covering that plastic. And then I can show you guys, this is how it's slowly starting to look right now. Now don't worry, the glue or the Mod Podge are going to dry clear. So right now it's white because it's wet, but once it dries you won't see any of the white. So don't worry if it's showing right now. That's just telling us that it's wet so that we know exactly where we're putting down our glue or Mod Podge. So I'm going to put it over here and a little bit over there as well. And then let's coat some more green. This is going to be the best looking ladybug sitting on a leaf I have ever seen. And I'm excited to see how this looks. There we go. And this one needs a little bit more. That is okay. Let's coat it down. Let's add lots and lots of color here. Smoothing it down. Ooh, I'm excited to see how this is going to look. Add a little bit more glue right here. The reason we're using tissue paper today is because tissue paper absorbs the glue. See, tissue paper is super, super thin. So when we stick it on something like glue, then it soaks it up just like a sponge. And then that way, the tissue paper has glue on both sides. So we know that it will stick down to the piece of plastic super easy. So before I turn it over to see how it looks, I'm going to put my last little piece here. I'm going to stick it down just like this. And then I'm going to turn it over and check to make sure that there's no gaps. So turning it over, it's a little hard to see, but I can see there is a tiny gap right there. And I know that because this is a sun catcher, I want to make sure that all of the shape is covered. So I'm going to take a little bit more of my red. I'm going to rip off a tiny piece right here, and then I'm going to stick it down where I saw that there was an opening. So let me put down all of my tissue paper. You can put that right over here. Just like so. Ah, it's getting stuck to my fingers. There we go. I don't need that little tail, so I can move that out the way. And I'll put this little piece right in the middle just to complete it. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. We're getting a really cool looking ladybug going on. I can see there's a little piece here too, so I'm also going to coat this piece right here so that every piece of my ladybug is covered. Okay, so while this is stuck down, we're going to flip it over and work on the other side. Now, because this is still a little bit wet, I'm going to put it on top of another piece of plastic. You guys can use a piece of paper or a piece of not tablecloth, oh my goodness, a piece of cardboard. That's what I was thinking, just so you can protect your table. So I'm going to put my pieces like that so that I'm protecting my table from getting any glue. And now I can see that the front needs to be decorated. So you guys have a few options to decorate. If you want to have a really thick line, just like this, that's super dark, you're going to need some paint. Now you can use any color paint that you want, but because I want a really, really thick black outline, I'm going to use the color black. If you don't have paint, that's okay. You can also use markers. I found the best color kind of markers that work on the plastic is permanent, but if you don't have permanent, you can also use regular markers as well. And then all you'd have to do is just trace around and color in your lines. Now, because I want the really, really thick black outline, I'm going to use a little bit of paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tiny bit of black paint on my piece of, my piece of paper. I can't speak today. Oh my goodness. On my little plate here. And then I'm going to get my paintbrush and I'm going to start with the outline. So taking your paintbrush or your marker, all you're going to do is start filling in all of the areas that you want to have the thick outline. Now, because I'm doing a ladybug, I'm going to make their head black. So I'm going to have a little black head here, and then I'm going to give it black spots and a black outline. And you can go nice and slow if you're using paint so you don't mess up. There's no rushing. We can just keep on going just like this. And then again, taking your paintbrush, I'm going to start doing a outline all the way around my ladybug. Now, because you are painting or coloring with marker on your plastic, you're going to need to go over it 1 or 2 times, just so that it shows up. But I'm going to go nice and slow all the way around, just like so. You can take your time. You don't need to rush. I've got a steady hand, so I'm going to go nice and slow so that it doesn't end up smearing all over. So I'm going to go all the way around as an outline for my ladybug. And then I'm going to go over the wings. I'm going to draw the wing outline just like this. So there's one. And then let's go over the second wing. All the way up. There is two. So it's a little hard to see. I'll hold it up to the camera a little bit. So we have our outline going on. And then we need to give our ladybug some spots, because you can't have a ladybug without some spots. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now making the spots is a little hard, so you might need to work with your paintbrush a little bit just so that they can look like perfect circle spots, especially when you have a flat paintbrush like me. Sometimes you have to just work with what you got. So I'm going to do my little spots right there. There we go. So I have some spots on my ladybug. I'm going to do the same with the other side. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to make them a little bit bigger because the other side is bigger as well. So I want to make them look just the same as the other side. I love how this is looking so far. This is looking super cool. Okay, and then I just need to outline the leaf. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go over everything one more time so that it is nice and dark. So I'm going to start with my leaf over here. And I'm going to outline Mr. Leaf. And I'm going to outline you over here too. Perfect. There we go. And then I'm going to outline you over here. Just going along nice and slow. You don't need to rush. These are going to look really cool once they're done. I'm excited. Okay. I'm going to finish my leaf right over here with a point at the very end to show off that it is a very pointy leaf. And then I'm going to go and do the line right in the middle. All the way down. Okay, now like I said before, you are going to need to take your paint and just go over where you did it. So I'm going to go over again on my ladybug. If you're not using paint, you'll only need to go over once with your marker. Your marker should be dark enough that you don't need to worry about going over a second time. But because we're using paint, our paint is a little thin, so I'll need to go over again so that it covers and blocks out the sun. Because for our sun catcher, you want the sun to shine through where all of the tissue paper is. So I'm going to block out the outlines with black paint so that the sun will shine through the green and the red, but not shine through where the black lines are. So I'm going to go all the way around here, just like this. And There we go. Look at that. So it's a little hard to see, so I'll hold it up so you guys can see. But this is what my ladybug sitting on a leaf looks like right now. Now, because everything is still wet, you might need to blow on it a little bit to help it kind of dry and air dry. And then what you can do is once it is dry, I won't cut it out fully because mine is still a little bit wet, but once it's dry, you can take some handy dandy scissors and cut along the lines. I'm just going to cut it out loosely like this so that you guys can see it a little bit better. And then once mine's fully dry, I can cut it out along the lines and I will have a beautiful sun catcher. So let me cut out mine all the way around like this. Go nice and slow. Remember, for my little friends, you might need to ask a parent or a guardian to help you out with your scissors because our scissors are a little sharp. And just like that, once your pieces have dried, you guys will have your very own sun catcher. You can do all different kinds of shapes and sizes. So for this one, I did a ladybug, and this is what the back looks like so you guys can see. I have my tissue paper and then my painted design. I also did a bumblebee by doing an oval and adding 2 pointed wings with some stripes. If you wanted to do a butterfly, you can have 2 giant big butterfly wings. And here, I can draw out some other shapes on my extra piece of paper here. So if you wanted to do a butterfly, you can do a long oval shape with 2 giant butterfly wings. If you want to do a dragonfly, you can do the same thing with a long oval shape, but instead of 2 giant bees for wings, you're going to need to do very thin and long wings, just like this. So super thin and super long wings, just like that. And if you have lots of plastic, you can do multiples, and then you can hang them up by just taping them to your window, and you can have a collection of bees and bugs and butterflies covering your window, and when the sun comes in, they will shine all different colors. And that is today's Crafternoons. So thank you guys so much for coming out today. I hope that you guys had lots of fun. I know it's super warm and really nice outside, so please go outside, look at the flowers, look at the trees and the grass. Maybe it'll give you some inspiration for your next craft or for your sun catcher craft. Remember to please stay safe, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye-bye. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.